Hello again, my name's Gabe Zolda. Well, got an interesting little email from a friend of mine, and I guess this is pretty much all over the web. The title of this particular article, Sex Scandal Might Nip Boehner's Speakership in the Bud. The Boehner I'm referring to is the Speaker of the House of Representatives. If you've watched some of my earlier videos, there's a number of them that I posted that said that the only thing that explains the way Boehner gives Obama whatever he wants is that he must have been heavily compromised. And it appears that's the case. Now, according to what's reported in this particular article, there's two women that Speaker Boehner has been bedding down with. One is an Elizabeth Lyons, that's L-I-S-B-E-T-H, Lyons, and the other is Lee La Mora, capital L, lowercase a, capital M-O-R-A. Now, this has been released through the National Enquirer. Now, you might say, the National Enquirer, who can believe them? Well, if you remember, the National Enquirer, they're the ones that released the information initially on John Edwards. And the affair that he was having. There's also some information that you might recall when Billy Bob Clinton, when they said that he was involved with Jennifer Flowers, that was released by the tabloids as well. So I got to believe there's a fair amount of truth to this. What's also happening is the New York Times, according to this article, was setting up a probe. They're curious to know why a 61-year-old married father with two children had multiple affairs in Washington, especially with Elizabeth Lyons, who is a Washington lobbyist. See, this explains a whole lot. And once again, in many of my videos, I said Boehner must have been compromised, probably through NSA. And guess what? Looks like I was right. Now, the thing I don't agree with this article, it says sex scandal might nip Boehner's speakership in the bud. They need to get rid of the might. The speaker is the only one that's blocking a special committee from being formed. The Republicans in the House of Representatives have asked numerous times to be able to put together a special committee. And a special committee is the only kind of committee that can get justice for the American people in a whole lot of these quote-unquote phony scandals, you know, like Benghazi. It's interesting, is it not, that we still haven't heard from a single survivor? I don't know if we can even find any of them anymore, because they've all, well, a number of them have been put into witness protection program, and they're all getting polygraphed about every 3 weeks. You ever wonder why that is? Anyway. What's interesting is what this does is it proves what I've said all along. Congress is a swamp, it's a sewer, and it needs to be drained. And we need to start all over again. The only ones that are worthy, I think, of anything are the new ones. The old ones that have been there for decades, like the lame-brained Senator Johnny McCain. Oh, by the way, the GOP in both Arizona and in North Carolina have censured both Johnny McCain and Senator Lindsey Graham. You ever wonder why that is? You know, there's another individual that you might want to look up. One of the things that I did is I looked up the history of, I think, 12 different congressional representatives that serve the American people. I love it when they say serve. And I found that out of the 12, only one had worked outside of the government. The majority of them, they graduate from law school and they go right into some political position, and eventually they wiggle their way into a retirement plan, which is why 48% of members of Congress are multimillionaires. Insider trading might have a little to do with that, I don't know. You want to look up a representative by the name of Hank Johnson. This will give you an idea as to the kind of people we have representing the American people's interest. Now, Hank Johnson was the only one that worked prior to becoming involved with Congress, out of those 12 that I made mention of a moment ago. And Hank's a rather unique kind of guy. He was partaking in a congressional hearing, and he asked, I believe it was an admiral, because there was a large military buildup on the island of Guam, and with a straight face, he asked, do you think that with this military buildup that there's a chance that the island might tip over. The person that he addressed a question to with a straight face came back with a response similar to the effect, well, we don't see that being an issue or a concern. These are the kind of people that represent America's interests. They're idiots. They're self-serving idiots. Boehner's got to go. And what also has to happen is that whoever is going to take his place has to be vetted thoroughly, not by Nancy Pelosi. You know what kind of vetting she does, huh? Yeah, this is crazy, folks. This is really, really crazy. He needs to go, and he needs to go now. And they have to have another vote on increasing the budget. They can't just do that for the sake of doing that. It's completely insane. Obama will continue to spend like the madman that he is. And where's the money going? Well, it's going to support what's interesting to him, which I think is the ultimate destruction of America. He's supporting the rebel freedom fighters. He's supporting the Muslim Brotherhood. Those are the items of greatest interest, I believe, to the usurper at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. So I told you what I think. What do you think?